to fulfill our vow and oath
that as ministers and workers inside the church,
we will love and safeguard the brethren.
We will put the welfare of the church first.
We will protect the church from harm.
we will intensify the works of propagation.
We will lead the brethren in unity.
We will be good examples of faith and love.
We will always submit to the church administration.
We will dedicate ourselves in the performance of our duties.
We will continue to help in edifying those under our care.
We are ready to give even our lives for the church.
We promise po that we will not allow the efforts of the church administration to be wasted.
From all the ministers, ministerial workers, together with our families and the entire ecclesiastical district of Saskatchewan, we would like to greet you po.
Happy birthday po! We love you so much po!
This is INCRadio, DCEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ or Iglesianicristo.
And good morning, everyone, and welcome this morning to INC Radio Florida. I am one of your hosts this morning, joining you, Brother Robert DePaulis, coming to you from here in sunny Tampa, Florida. And of course, today is Saturday, November 2nd. It's already the second day of November. The year is wrapping up very quickly, but of course, we're here to continue in sharing all of the great things that are happening here in Florida. It's about 9:32 in the morning here on the East Coast of the United States, which means that it is already a little past 9:30 in the evening there in the Philippines. So we appreciate you staying up late to join us. We've got a great topic we're going to be talking about today. And joining us will be someone from our district, Kadiwa, to share some of the upcoming activities and what it is that we are actually discussing in the various projects that we've had over the last several weekends tied to those devastating hurricanes that we've had here in the state of Florida. But before we do that, I wanted to give a shout out and say hi to Sister Joy there in Orlando. How are you doing this morning, Sister Joy?
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to all of our viewers. Thank you, Brother Robert. Yes, I'm here in Central Florida, and greetings to all of our viewers. We can already see that our YouTube channel here is just filled with all of our lovely viewers. Thank you for all your greetings. Please let us know where you're from. We also want to know, how is the weather on your side? So we have an exciting topic that we'll be talking about today that we would like to inform all of you of what's going on here in the District of Florida.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And when it talks about weather, this is one of the reasons why we live in Florida, Sister Joy, right? Mm-hmm. It is November, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to be walking around later in shorts and flip-flops because it's gorgeous. It's 80 degrees. I know that's not an image anyone needs to see, but when you're doing yard work, what can you do? And we also want to say hello to Sister Charisse up there in Pensacola, who's joining us as well. Good morning, Sister Charisse. How are things up there on the coast?
Good morning, everyone. It is a very lovely day here in Pensacola. I wish it was colder weather because I'm very much a sweater type of person, but no, it's still nice, bright, and sunny. And we're all looking forward to turning our clocks back tomorrow so we can gain that extra hour. So
yes, thank you for that reminder, because that means I was going to be tomorrow. It is fall back, right? Is that what it is here? Mm-hmm. Here in the U.S. I know we do have an international audience, so some of the folks that are watching outside the country are probably wondering, what are you talking about? We have to change our clocks here twice a year to make up for daylight savings time here, except for. Here's a quiz, and I'm going to throw this out for one of our wonderful guests this morning, Sister Cassandra Gallion, who's joining us from here in Tampa as well. Good morning, Sister Cassandra.
Good morning, Paul.
Morning. I have a question for you. How's it? We're going to start off with a quiz. What states do not practice a time change due to daylight savings?
I believe Arizona.
Okay. There's
And
one other state.
I want to say there was a new state just recently that implemented that they're not doing it, but I don't recall where.
You don't? Oh, well, you got 50%. Arizona is one, absolutely. And the other is Hawaii.
Awesome. I wonder if any of
State
our
of
viewers.
Hawaii. Yeah. Because,
Any
well,
of
they're
our
out in the
viewers
middle of the
know?
ocean. So, what was that, Sister Joy?
I was trying to see if any of our viewers chimed in.
Oh, were they? Oh, I should have thrown that in there. Yeah, and
Oh,
asked
Brother
them. You know,
Adrian. Hello, Brother Adrian. He mentioned
Arizona and Hawaii.
Arizona
Look at
and
that. You know, not only one of our top fans, but also one of our brightest, of course. Right, Brother Adrian Abelga's joining us there. The two states that don't practice daylight savings time are Hawaii and Arizona. But unfortunately, here in Florida, we do. So if you're here in Florida, you're on the East Coast, please be sure that you move your clocks backwards, or else you're going to be really disappointed because you're going to be getting up earlier than you were supposed to. So, all right. Well, we're here to talk about today. And of course, we have Sister Cassandra joining us because we have a topic that really, I think, is near and dear to a lot of Floridians, especially given the last couple of weeks that we've had to deal with recovery because of those devastating hurricanes that we've had to go through. Let me go ahead and share here really quick. And if Kuyatek, if you could please kindly put us in grid. We wanted to go over and talk about a couple of special projects that the Church of Christ here in the District of Florida had undertaken over the last several weeks. Now, the reason that a lot of this started was primarily because of those two hurricanes. And as you recall, it's been actually almost back to back. Back on September 26th, Hurricane Helen made landfall here in the United States. It made its way up north. It actually made landfall a lot further north than most of us here. It was kind of east for you, Sister Cherise, because it actually went into what we here in Florida call the Big Bend area, which is around Tallahassee. And it made landfall and made its way up to North Carolina. Actually, the storm created as much devastation there as it did here, if not more. And that was back on September 26th. And then Hurricane Milton, just less than 2 weeks later, on October 9th, made landfall here on the west coast of Florida, making landfall down in Sarasota, which is just south of us here in Tampa, and then made its way across the state. Hurricane Helen was a Category 4 hurricane with winds of up to 140 miles an hour. And of course, Hurricane Milton, even stronger, at 180 miles an hour at its peak, which was a Category 5. And the photos that we're showing you here are actual photos that we were able to capture in a community called Treasure Island here in the St. Petersburg or Pinellas County area of Tampa in the Bay area here. And Treasure Island is just one of many communities that was devastated because of the storm surge. The storm surge, we had over 15 feet at its peak of storm surge that came through. I saw videos, Sister Joy and Sister Cherise, of the water that just came in and was above the rooftops of many of the homes. And as you could see, one of the photos here on the top right, the houses, as I drove through Treasure Island a few weeks ago, there was not a single home that didn't have debris sitting in its front yard. And that's just evidence that every single home in that community was impacted. What you see here is a photo also of the Tropicana Field, which is the baseball stadium in St. Petersburg. The roof was torn off as a result of those 100+ mile-an-hour winds that came when Milton made landfall. And just the community itself is just completely devastated. On the bottom right is a photo from the location where the Church of Christ's Care for Humanity project actually staged for its relief effort a few weeks ago, which we're going to talk about here in just a moment. And you can see that's a U-Haul truck next to it, right? And U-Haul trucks are probably close to 15 feet tall. And you can see how tall that debris, and that debris was just a massive pile. You're only just seeing a small portion of it here in the frame. So there's just a tremendous amount of devastation that occurred. And the next slide is about that project that was actually undertaken by the Church of Christ of the District of Florida, called the Care for Humanity Project. And I'd like to ask Sister Cassandra to please chime in. Tell us a little bit about what happened on that activity, what its mission was really, and some of the items that were given out to try to help those that are recovering.
Yeah, so I believe this is actually a special project given from Central for us to help out the brethren or the people of the communities because it was hit pretty hard. And so the Church of Christ was able to assemble 500 care packages full of food and supplies. And then an additional, I believe it was 200 buckets of cleaning supplies for those in need. And special recognition, shout out to the ministers of Florida, their families for putting a lot of this together, the locale of Orlando for putting a lot of this together. It's because of your work we were able to go out into the community and just give it out the next day because they were pretty quick with putting things together.
Thank you so much. And you know, the efforts there, of course, led by, as you'd mentioned, the ministers of the various congregations, and they're in the district helping to put all of these things together. A lot of brethren were there as well and helping in that effort. There were a couple of U-Haul trucks. It wasn't just one that I remember seeing that were bringing in these supplies. And when deciding what supplies, what was really needed, you know, what comes to mind typically almost immediately are like water, non-perishable foods. But I think here there was a little bit of a unique approach too in providing those buckets with the cleaning supplies, which is unique. What was the thinking behind having that be a big part of this relief effort as well, Sister Cassandra?
I don't think there's any huge strategy besides there's going to be a lot of cleanup that needs to be done following the hurricanes. And so anything that can be disinfected, anything that can be wiped away, cleaned up, you know, and stored in a bucket, you know, I think that was really the approach with helping out others.
Right, and it's I think an important fact to remember that even after the cleaning, right, because these homes were just overwhelmed with water, and this is, you know, salt water and seawater that's coming over. Even though you empty your home and you get rid of all of the furniture that's been ruined, you take up the carpets and you throw them out. When moisture gets in those walls, a lot of times the moisture then evolves into mold, right? And which can make people ill. And that's why I think cleaning supplies was such a great idea, because, you know, to help disinfect a lot of that, they're going to need to be able to make their homes habitable again. But in order for them to do that, they need these supplies. So so that was a massive effort. And I think you guys even went out into the community after this, right?
Yeah, so I was just about to bring up, we did go into the community. So, you know, we're at the community center for most of the morning, but we understand that there's people who are not able to get to the community center. Either their roads are still blocked off because of trees, they're too busy from sun up to sundown with like cleaning up their houses and everything. So as we're speaking with visitors who are accepting some of the packages, we're also asking, where in your community can we go? Can we help move trees or clean up debris or X, Y, and Z, right? And they're pointing us to 3 main places. And so we did visit one of the 3 places that they mentioned, and we also brought that area these supplies as well. And there was a woman who, when we were giving a bucket to, she practically fell to her knees because she was in so much tears. A lot of them are elder, and they're not snowbirds. I believe that's the word. They're not snowbirds, so they're here year round. But they live on the first floor of the 2-floor compound or condo complex. And so anyone that was on the first floor, you can hear the workers and everyone. They're literally ripping everything out. It's completely damaged. There's nothing to save. So a lot of them, they placed them on the second floor for the time being. And so, when they were receiving the bucket, they were crying because they were telling us how they're currently getting everything ripped out below. And so this is like a fresh start for them. And they were really appreciative of just the bucket.
That is so incredible, because one of the things that I think you, and it's a great point you brought up, is that just because you're putting all of this material and staging it there at the Treasure Island Community Center, that's an assumption that people can get there. And many of them, there were stories of people who were they were isolated, they were trapped in their communities, either because of floodwaters or because of just all of the debris. They weren't able to get to it. So I think it was very admirable that, obviously you went out to the community and said, we're going to bring it to them to help them be able to get the materials that they so desperately needed. One of the things that I brought up as a highlight as well that I thought was really, really nice is there's, obviously here we always say heroes don't always wear capes. I think some of the heroes of this effort were the line workers who came to restore power, and a lot of those workers who came to put together all of the debris and help clear it and bring those trucks in, those massive construction trucks and the construction workers. And I noticed during this event that you guys were actually there feeding them and providing coffee and things, just little things to just really kind of help them get started, because these folks are out there at the 6 a.m. starting that work, right, Sister Cassandra?
Yes.
It was
we encourage them, come have breakfast, come have lunch with us.
and I think that goes such a long way. So when you think about reaching out to the community and giving the community, a sort of a sense of normalcy, if you will, being able to do small things like that goes a long way. So the Care for Humanity Project, obviously, one of its biggest efforts or biggest missions is to help in response to disasters like this, whether they're tornadoes in the Midwest, earthquakes in California, or hurricanes here in Florida. But the Care for Humanity Project also is an ongoing project that exists to help those in need outside of disasters. And we did have projects that were going on last week throughout the district, a few weeks after the hurricane, so still people are recovering from it, but recognizing that there are folks that need help, even if they weren't directly impacted by this hurricane. So up in Jacksonville, we did this in several regions, and up in Jacksonville, they did have outreach at the place of worship for those that need any kind of assistance, whether it was through the care packages we're providing, access to resources. And so the brethren there in Jacksonville invited folks that they know, people that they heard of that need help, and invited them to come to the place of worship. In some cases, brought them to the place of worship to be able to help them get access to those needs. And as you could see here, members of the Church of Christ Care for Humanity Project there in Jacksonville showed up and gathered together a lot of supplies. They also did put together a lot of effort in being able to help care for those that were in need throughout that community. Again, we're focusing on those specific communities. That same project occurred down in Orlando as well. Sister Joy, can you tell us a little bit about what you guys did down there?
Oh, absolutely. I'm, really humbled to be part of these projects. And, Brother Robert and Sister Cass, you both mentioned like these were like little things, right? But for someone who is going through, who's going through such a devastation, I mean, these were their homes, when it comes to our hurricane victims. And for those that were reaching out to other communities, sometimes these are like overseas workers, right? They're away from their families. You're looking for that community that mentally and emotionally you're going through these things. And I think it's just directly spoken in this organization, in this, outreach that we're doing, Care for Humanity. It's profound. And just having that community, we talk about like, oh, they're little buckets, just filled with cleaning supplies. But it's more than the bucket. It's that love. It's that concern. that this outreach program is providing to those that are really going through these really difficult times. And sometimes you don't feel it when you're going through these things, and until like a community like this, I mean, and then you see all the brethren wearing these shirts that are like supporting you. It really does mean a lot. In the Orlando area, we were our focus was more of the overseas workers, the foreign workers, and some of them are away from their families, and that it's a big deal. And one of the cool things that we did, I don't, you might have to help me with some translations here, guys. But one of the giveaways that we were doing were bulk buy-in boxes. And so if you are overseas, for anyone who's tuning in, if you are overseas and you're away from your family, many times those overseas workers, what they're doing, they're working to try to provide for their family. And what these bulk buy-in boxes are goods, like not usually non-perishable goods. Sometimes it's clothing. These items in a bulk buy-in box is sent back to their home or back to their families. And most of the time, what's included in these boxes are things that their families can't really afford. And really, they become the ones that are working. They're the ones that are their families are depending on them. So it was really nice to see how eager and how our community, even the Orlando community, we all came together. We played games, and again, you don't think about it so much on a scale. We sometimes think that, oh, this is just a little small thing that we're doing, but when speaking to these who have been affected, or these that are actually like overseas workers, it's a big deal. This is a really big deal, and it means so much. And if you haven't participated in these activities, these are just wonderful activities, and the impact that it makes, not just on that one person, on their families, is just, it's incredible. It really is. It's humbling, and it's so nice because they're not only uplifted mentally, emotionally, but spiritually. They're enlightened because, again, like we mentioned, our ministers, our ministerial workers, they're there. We receive counsel from them as well during these activities. It's just it really is. It's a very wholesome event, not just for our brethren, not just for those who have been impacted in the communities. It care for humanity. I mean, it just speaks right there for it. And it really is a time where the brethren can come together. We reach out to the community. And again, like you mentioned, Brother Robert, it's not just specific to just one certain element, right? It's not like, oh, only hurricane victims, only
right,
things that have happened, that are so devastating. But, sometimes you don't think about it, right? Like our overseas workers, our teachers, this is also appreciating. So it's not something bad that has happened, but we're also, reaching out to like our teachers. I mean, these are, teaching alone children, right, is it really is a labor of love. And so just reaching out to those and to those organizations because we care is really such a wonderful thing. And it's humbling. It really is. It really is humbling to be part of these activities, and it's a lot of fun. We play games.
Well,
too.
I mean, you guys look like you were having a good time there. I mean, there's entertainment, obviously. There's, I could see that there was some entertainment that was happening there. You're obviously sharing some nourishment with them and refreshments. And I think it's a really good point that you bring up in being able to care for the community as a whole, and it's not targeting a specific demographic, right? So we're not targeting specifically people only who are suffering from some sort of a disaster and they're recovering, or specifically just specific foreign workers, for example. It's just anyone in need. The Church of Christ and the Care for Humanity Project are designed to be able to help outreach to the community and provide it to anyone who has a need. One of the things I was going to do, throw out in the, because we love interacting with our audience, you mentioned a term in the beginning and said balikbayan. And that's a Filipino term, right? And if you're Filipino, you're probably accustomed to the term balikbayan box. But can someone in our chat tell us, what does balikbayan mean, and what is balikbayan? Why is it significant when you say balikbayan box? And while we're waiting for an answer on that, Sister Joy and Sister Charisse, if you guys will just monitor the chat, but I'm interested in finding out, what does balikbayan actually mean? So while we're doing that, we're gonna go to the next slide, which is the same project that we had, but it was down in the St. Petersburg area for the St. Petersburg, Tampa, and Lakeland communities. Sister Cassandra, can you tell us a little bit about what that project entailed? Oop.
Yes, so it's very similar to what Ate Joy had mentioned, recognizing and showing appreciation to um, guests of brethren who came. These are either neighbors or they were co-workers, friends in school, and also like overseas workers. So this was the St. Pete region, and you can tell like there was quite a few of the visitors that were there. We had a very enjoyable activity actually. I really enjoyed the games. The visitors, I'm just watching, but like the visitors, they're like running around laughing and having fun. You can tell they were enjoying themselves. Uh, you know, as Ate Joy had mentioned, we don't always have to wait until a catastrophe happens. And so, despite everything that's been going on, especially in this region of Florida, we had a step back, like a moment to just appreciate what's happening right now, like the goodness in this moment. And so, that's what that event was like in St. Petersburg.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Sister Cassandra. And I think the thing we really want to highlight here is that, the Care for Humanity project is not a project solely focused in response to tragedies or catastrophes, right, or disasters. It is an ongoing year-long project that is available to help the community. So if you're listening to us and you do have a Church of Christ, Iglesianicristo, a congregation near you, and you'd like to learn more about our Care for Humanity projects, please reach out to them, because every opportunity they have to be able to reach out into that community, members of this Care for Humanity project are doing that. And before we go, because we are, as we love to say here, the fastest 30 minutes on radio, I want to be sure that we do have an opportunity to kind of share a little bit about what's going on here in the District of Florida. So I'm going to toss it back to you, Sister Cassandra, to please tell us a little bit about some of the events that are happening here with the Christian Family Organization.
Absolutely. So there's quite a few activities remaining for the month of November. We just had our special gathering yesterday for CBI and district multimedia officers. But November 10 will be the Kadiwa Formal, and this is for those who are 18 and above but not married. So we'll be meeting in Clearwater for our Kadiwa Formal. November 15 and 16, it depends on your local congregation and which day you choose. It's either Friday or Saturday. But brethren will come together. So it's a family cooking challenge. Ideally, you want your entire family to participate. But we understand that there's some who may live far away from their parents or whatever. And so you can do it as an individual unit. But the main thing is noodle soup.
Ooh, sign me up.
Bonus points if you can make me lasagna soup.
Let me put it out there. If you're far away from your family, I will adopt you. The Ali's will adopt you. Okay, so come and join our team.
On November 22nd, I believe it's 22nd and 23rd, same thing, local congregation gets to decide, but there's a tribute to the parents. So the Kadiwa Binhi and CWS will be putting on a show of recognition for our parents. That's November 24th. This is Kadiwa, so same thing. Those 18 and above not married, we're meeting in St. Petersburg, 6 p.m. and it's going to be a real chill vibe. And come learn more about the Kadiwa organization. And then November 29, Unity Games, Jacksonville, Florida, at Sports Edge. And as you can see, it says basketball, doubles, pickle ball, speed cubing, sports stacking, and CWS dodgeball. We tried having something for everyone.
That is awesome. Okay, you guys heard it.
Exciting.
Everybody better be sharp. Better be sharpening your pickleball paddles. Wait, do you sharpen those things?
No.
I don't think you're supposed to sharpen them, right?
This is gonna be fun.
Never mind. That shows you how much I play pickleball. Thank you, Sister Cassandra, for joining. Thank you. Well, we did a show on it. We did an episode on it, right? So now let's find out who Sister Joy and Sister Charisse was able to answer the question about what is a Bilik Bayan.
Yes, we had Brother Jose Enriquez Jr., also known as, right, Brother OG Enriquez. He said, oh gosh, I love how all of you chimed in. He said, coming home.
Coming home.
Coming home.
That's awesome. It's true. And you know, the official Google translation for Bilik Bayan is repatriate, which exactly translates into returning home when you live outside of the country. So that's what a Bilik Bayan box is. And that's why we pack it. You know, I'll try to pack myself in a box and ship myself home one of these days. That's how I'll get back to the Philippines.
They might return to sender.
Return is not enough postage for me. Well, I want to thank Sister Cassandra for joining us again today as a member of our District Kadiwa, as our District Kadiwa president, of course. And I know as busy as you are, carving out time to spend time with us here is always appreciated. We want to thank Sister Joy for joining us there in Orlando. And of course, Sister Charisse up there in Pensacola. We love having you back here. This is Brother Robert Tapalas here for INC Radio Florida. Please stay tuned because INC Radio South Central States is coming up next with Brother Nate and Sister Arnie. And we will see you next Saturday. We have another very special topic with a few lessons learned from first-time parents. So I'm going to leave you with that. I'll see you next week.
This is INC Radio, DCEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the